The shepherd this morning is deciding to speak among his sheep. Now, I said I was going to do this yesterday. This is a very big weekend for us. Yesterday, we had our students in second grade receive their first Holy Communion. Do I have any students who received their first Holy Communion yesterday present in the congregation? If so, please stand. All right. Awesome. Thank you. And of course today, in just a few moments, I'll have the opportunity to welcome Susie Seal into the church through the sacrament of confirmation and Holy Communion. And James will have the opportunity to confirm you after all these years. And so, congratulations to the both of you in just a few moments. And so, today is also Good Shepherd Sunday. And when we focused yesterday on the Eucharist, I focused on something very beautiful for the kids, and it was very simple. Jesus is in you. Jesus is in you. Jesus is in you. And Jesus comes down to meet us as we come forward to meet him. And it's a good reminder for us to remember that Jesus is in us. And that Jesus wants to go out into the world and say, "Good morning, York, Pennsylvania. It's great to see all of you." Jesus wants to go into the world. Now, it's important for us to remember that Jesus is in us. And especially as we leave here. Because what often happens to us when we leave church? The first person who cuts us off. You beep, 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 beep. We forget Jesus is in us. And I worked for many years in fast food. And I often worked the carry-out window. Now, because I was in high school, I had to work weekends. Now, I had a good company. They allowed me to go to Saturday night Mass or Sunday morning. They were very good and flexible with that. But occasionally, the time I dreaded the most was right after church services let out. Because I think people forgot who they received. And if you weren't Catholic, you still received Jesus in word. Here we receive him in Eucharist. Jesus is in us. And I think the challenge we face is that we don't digest that information. We don't process it. Because we're too fast. We're too quick. We live in this world that's going constantly. One of the things I often do is parodies come into my head. And I write parodies sometimes of songs. How many of you remember that song by the Orleans, "Don't Hang Up"? Don't hang up, no, no. I remember that from Dennis the Menace, the one with Walter Matthau. Nobody wanted to watch Dennis. And that was the song they played in the background. Well, I refigured the words a little bit. Don't rush out, no, no. Hey, where you going now? Don't rush out, no, no. Don't rush out like you always do, because the Lord might have something he wants to say to you. So don't rush out. That give the praise to Jesus, because he's the one who thought it up. I didn't think that up. But it's true. We're too fast. We don't process things. We're too busy about going from one thing to another. But just imagine if we stopped and allowed ourselves to digest what we receive. Not just physically in word and in action, but a spiritual digestion. Imagine if we gave thanks to God, and imagine if we walked out together as a parish family. You know, that just in that self, slowing down, believe me, just by slowing down and pausing for a moment, we begin to recognize who we've received. Jesus is in us. Jesus is in us. Jesus is in us. Jesus is front and center of the church. Tabernacle, altar, front and center. He's present. He is the good shepherd. He walks in our midst. He comes to you. He enters you. And he walks in the midst of the world. That's our good, gentle, tender shepherd. A shepherd who walks with his sheep. And so today, as we celebrate this Good Shepherd Sunday, let us thank the Lord. Thank him for coming into us. And as we allow ourselves to process that information, may we allow the Eucharist to transform us. That way, when we're faced with that sudden situation, when somebody cuts us off, that we respond differently. That we respond that our Lord Jesus is in us. And if we take Jesus into the world with us, and we allow ourselves to cooperate with God's plan, just imagine how different this world would be.